Napoleon Bonaparte was not born a king, nor the heir to any throne. He was born on the island of Corsica in 1769 to a modest but noble family, just as France was on the brink of revolution. From the start, Napoleon showed an uncommon sharpness. He was sent to mainland France to train as a military officer, a foreign-sounding teenager in a nation that would soon turn on its monarchy. When the French Revolution exploded in 1789, chaos swept the country. While generals and nobles were being executed, young officers with talent were rising fast. Napoleon was one of them. At just 24 years old, he earned national fame by crushing a royalist uprising in Paris with brutal efficiency. By 1796, he was given command of the French army in Italy. There, he proved himself a military genius. He outmaneuvered larger, better-equipped Austrian forces, winning battle after battle with speed, surprise, and a mastery of terrain. In just 1 year, he turned a struggling army into a conquering force. Then came Egypt. In 1798, Napoleon launched an ambitious expedition to strike British interests by invading Egypt. Though his army won battles on land, the British Navy under Admiral Nelson crushed the French fleet at the Battle of the Nile. The mission collapsed, but Napoleon spun it as a success. He returned to France in 1799 to a hero's welcome. France was still unstable. The revolution had eaten itself. In this vacuum, Napoleon made his move. With support from key politicians and the military, he staged a coup. In 1799, he became first consul, effectively the ruler of France. 5 years later, he crowned himself emperor. Napoleon's empire building began at home. He reformed laws, stabilized the economy, and created institutions that still exist today, including the Napoleonic Code. But abroad, he was constantly at war. One by one, he defeated Austria, Prussia, and other European powers. His masterpiece came in 1805, the Battle of Austerlitz. Facing the combined armies of Russia and Austria, Napoleon lured them into a trap. In a single day, he shattered both armies. Austerlitz became a symbol of his brilliance. But power breeds resistance. Britain, Russia, and others refused to bow. Napoleon tried to break British trade through the continental system, an economic blockade, but it backfired. Meanwhile, in Spain, his forces were bogged down in a bloody guerrilla war. Then came Russia. In 1812, Napoleon led his Grand Army, over 600,000 men, into the Russian heartland. But Russia refused to fight. They retreated deeper, burning their own cities. At last, Napoleon reached Moscow, only to find it abandoned and in flames. Winter came early. With no supplies, the French army starved and froze. What began as a grand campaign ended in disaster. Fewer than 100,000 men returned. Napoleon's myth of invincibility was shattered. His enemies seized the moment. Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia formed a new alliance. In 1814, they pushed into France. Paris fell. Napoleon was forced to abdicate. He was exiled to the island of Elba. But he wasn't finished. In 1815, Napoleon escaped Elba and returned to France. The army sent to arrest him joined him instead. The people cheered. For one last time, he seized power. The period would be known as the 100 Days. It ended at Waterloo. There, facing British and Prussian forces, Napoleon fought his final battle. It was a brutal, desperate fight. But a series of tactical missteps and bad luck sealed his fate. The French army broke. Napoleon fled. He surrendered to the British and was sent to St. Helena, a remote island in the South Atlantic. There, he spent his final years under constant watch, writing his memoirs and reflecting on what he had built and lost. He died in 1821 at the age of 51.